Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by our number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nundumiso Vilagade alongside Namakabiso Nkambule, and here are your top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III, who is accompanied by Inkoskat Magala Mashwama, have arrived in the United Arab Emirates, where upon arrival His Majesty met the Abu Dhabi Royalty and Foreign Affairs Minister. The Principal Secretary and the Ministry of Public Services, managers for different entities, should ensure that Mswati receive quality service. The court has adjourned the trial of 4 accused persons who face several charges, including the bombing of ATMs. The news. His Majesty King Mswati III has landed in the United Arab Emirates. The King, accompanied by Inkoskat Magala Mashama, is in Abu Dhabi to strengthen bilateral relations and also to develop the economic cooperation between the two countries.
His Majesty King Mswati III arrived safely in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi. His Majesty is accompanied by Inkosikati Mage Lamashwama in this trip. Upon arrival in Abu Dhabi, His Majesty the King was welcomed by the royalty of the city and government officials of Abu Dhabi. Also present to receive His Majesty was the Ambassador of Eswatini in the United Arab Emirates, His Excellency Sfiso Dlamini. His Majesty's visit is in line with the government of Eswatini's objective regarding attraction of foreign direct investment into the kingdom, including trade and tourism flows. The relations between the two countries have developed from traditional to economic diplomacy. Also part of His Majesty's delegation is His Royal Highness Prince Longokela, Her Royal Highness Princess Sanzisile, Indvuna Mafelenkosini, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and the Minister of Commerce and Trade Industry, just to name a few. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates.
And again, His Majesty King Mswati III has met with the Abu Dhabi Royalty and the United Arab Emirates Foreign Affairs Minister. His Majesty the King is in the United Arab Emirates to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries and further invite investors into the kingdom.
Following the arrival of His Majesty King Mswati III in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, the King had private talks with the royalty of this city. The ruling family of Abu Dhabi had talks on how to further cooperate with the Kingdom of Eswatini. His Majesty King Mswati III has also met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Sheikh Shakabout. The King and the Minister had private deliberations on how to further strengthen the relations between the countries and how both states can help each other in the process of economic development. The bilateral relations between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the United Arab Emirates have been existing for some years now. The Kingdom of Eswatini is one of the few SADC embassies and consulates in the United Arab Emirates. The relations between the countries have benefited the kingdom as the development projects in Eswatini that have been funded by the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development. One of the projects is the Manzini-Mbadlane Highway. While still in Abu Dhabi, His Majesty King Eswatini III also met with officials from a company known as Emigate. The officials were led by the founder of the company, Katima Al-Kabi. The company contributes in tourism investment, health, trade, media, and tourism real estate development, just to name a few. The company could greatly assist the kingdom as the country is currently striving to develop the economy and also in a process of attracting investors to invest in different sectors.
How are you, Majesty?
Yes, how are you?
Fine, good. How about you?
Nice to meet
Nice to meet you. His Excellency, Nabiyullah.
Nice to meet you. How are you? Fine, thank you.
Mr. Mohammed Al-Khouri.
How are you? Good to meet you. Thank you. Very nice to meet
His Excellency, Mr. Sulaiman.
you. How are you?
Office Sheikh Al-Hayya من Mubarak.
Yes, how are you?
Mr. Amra. Mr. Sulaiman.
How are you? Fine.
His Excellency Ali Al-Kabi, my brother.
How are you?
While still in Abu Dhabi, His Majesty King Eswatini III also met with officials from a company known as Emigate. The officials were led by the founder of the company, Katima Al-Kabi. The company contributes in tourism investment, health, trade, media, and tourism real estate development, just to name a few. The company could greatly assist the kingdom as the country is currently striving to develop the economy and also in a process of attracting investors to invest in different sectors. Also present during the meetings was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Commerce, and the Minister of Finance, just to name a few. On the news, I am Polile Mazia in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Sipho Thabethe, says managers for different entities should ensure that Maswati receive quality service. Thabethe says the Ministry of Public Service is looking into introducing programs that will foster the culture of excellency.
The Minister of Public Service facilitated a workshop for managers of different entities to capacitate them on changing mindset for the benefit of the nation in terms of service delivery. Speaking during the official opening of the workshop, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Sipho Thabethe, says managers will have to share their knowledge with all their officers. Thabethe encouraged managers to improve their performances. Thabethe further stated that the Ministry is working on providing different programs that will promote ethics and accountability.
Umgomo lomkhulu wale workshop ngilokuthi labaphathi labala lolwathi lesebalutholile la kufuneka ukuthi bese bayolundlulisela kuleto tisebenzi labadiphethe.
The workshop is in line with government's strategy of providing quality service across all sectors and also to attain effective general public service management. For Eswatini TV News Sondomlangini, Mbongwa Dube, Ezulwini.
Limpopo University of Creative Technology students are dispirited following the cancellation of their graduation ceremony, which was set to be on the 11th of November at Mavuso Trade Center. The students who have expressed sadness about the cancellation say they had already made advanced preparations for their graduation.
Ngiphukile emoyeni ngoba le graduation ibe into lenkulu lengigadzile endle sengivile ngithokotele ukuthi nayi seyifikile.
The students who shared the same sentiments of unhappiness over the cancellation of their in-person graduation ceremony say the ceremony would have meant a lot to them as it signifies a very important accomplishment in their lives. They say they feel like the significance of what they have achieved has been reduced. The university director, Thobile Gumede, told us some of the reasons behind the decision to cancel the in-person graduation.
Sicabangele timpilo tebantu, sicabangele ema-resources mhlambe lapho sitosebentela khona because lesikhathi.
We regret that the decision to cancel the graduation ceremony follows the recent arson attack on the institution. We have therefore opted to host the ceremony virtually to ensure the safety of staff and students, as well as their parents and university partners. Gumede, who expressed the university's sincere apology for the inconvenience caused by the decision, says they are working hard to making sure that the virtual ceremony feels like the actual ceremony. Sifiso Nxumalo for Eswatini TV News in Babane.
A 22-year-old man has been found hanging from the rafters of his one-room apartment earlier today. It has been gathered that the deceased committed suicide after he was found in the house with a naked minor on Monday night. It has also been gathered that the deceased and the minor have been in a relationship for the past 2 years.
The deceased grandmother, Sipiwe Dlamini, says the search for her grandson began on Monday night after they could not get hold of him on his mobile phones. Gogo Sipiwe says her grandson disappeared after he was busted with a 14-year-old girl in his rented flat.
The minor said they have been in a relationship for the past 2 years with the deceased. We did not know what to say, as her mother emphasized that she could inform the police so that the child can get medical attention.
Mpuleni community policeman Jabulani Dlamini says they suspect that the deceased took his life in fear of the law.
13 years.
He was visited overnight by his 13-year-old lover, and he knew that the law would take its course, so he took the decision to take his life.
The minor's mother, whose name will not be mentioned to protect the identity of the child, says he trusted the deceased and regarded him as a son.
They used to come to my flat to watch TV as I regarded them as my children. Even when I come back late from the market, I would call them and ask that they look after my children.
This incident happens at a time when the world is fresh from commemorating World Suicide Prevention Day. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with the Mbongwa Dube, Matsapa.
The Center for Financial Inclusion Chief Executive Officer Nomcebo Hadebe says young people can play a critical role in formulating policies that are inclusive. Hadebe was speaking during a meeting with young people and relevant stakeholders in agricultural and youth sector in Eswatini.
To just make an example with the FinClude project, which is the flagship project that IFAD has in the country at the moment. FinClude is targeting 60% youth. So of all the people that the project seeks to reach, it's really looking at having youth as the larger proportion of that.
And the Center for Financial Inclusion, in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Sports, Youth and Culture, had a stakeholder engagement meeting with policymakers. The CFI CEO Nomcebo Hadebe says young people should voice out their submissions when formulating policies.
We tend to make policies for people without engaging them, and then we want to put them through to them to own, yet we should be engaging them extensively so that they can tell us. Firstly, they must tell us what is really going on the ground. That will give us a better appreciation and understanding of what they face as challenges and how we can mitigate those challenges.
Some of the areas that we touch on include access to finance and access to markets. Eswatini TV News Sondomlangeni, Themba Shabangu, Matsapa.
Consumers who visited the Kingdom of Eswatini stand in Mozambique showed interest in visiting Eswatini, especially to enjoy cultural festivities. The Eswatini Tourism Authority's Chief Executive Officer Linda Nxumalo says the Kingdom also received an award for International Exhibitor. Nxumalo was speaking when reporting on Mozambique Exhibition 2022.
The Kingdom of Eswatini joined other countries in Mozambique to market Eswatini. The Eswatini Tourism Authority Chief Executive Officer Linda Nxumalo says consumers showed so much interest in learning more about Eswatini culture.
We got the first position in terms of the international exhibitions, and the reason why Eswatini was given this accolade is because they had a very interactive stand and the pictures actually spoke louder than words, in terms of how we presented the activities that you can do in Eswatini. Also, what is quite interesting was the culinary experience in Eswatini. It also came out quite powerfully because most of the tour operators were interested in bringing people to Eswatini to experience the culinary experience, especially the township tourism side of things, which talks to the braais and the shisanyama experiences that are presented by the market in Eswatini.
In 2020-2021 financial year, the tourism sector contributed over 400 million emalangeni to the gross domestic product. For Eswatini, TV News Sondomlangeni, Themba Shabangu, Matapa.
The court has adjourned the trial of 4 accused persons who face several charges, including the bombing of ATMs, until Thursday. The matter was expected to be heard by the Mbabane Magistrates Court today. However, it had to be adjourned as the prosecutor dealing with the matter was indisposed. Senior Defense Counsel Advocate Mduduzi Mabila has submitted to the court that they will apply for the accused to be discharged should the prosecutor be absent on Thursday.
The 4 accused persons are Sicelo Msibi, Mzwandile Lukele, Given Mavuso and Lindani Zita. On Tuesday, the court had to hear arguments on whether the matter should be before the High Court or Magistrates Court. This did not happen as the prosecutor was said to be indisposed. The Crown applied that the matter be adjourned until Thursday for setting of trial date. Senior Defense Counsel Advocate Mduduzi Mabila, who has been instructed by Sive Ngwenya, submitted to the court that they phoned the prosecutor on Monday and even went to his offices but could not get hold of him. Mabila also submitted that the prosecutor was unethical in that he did not inform them that he would not be in court. Mabila told the court that they would not apply dirty tactics but would wait until Thursday to file a certain application in the matter. Mabila told the court that should the prosecutor be absent on Thursday, they would make an application to have their clients discharged in accordance with the Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act. Section 277 of the legislation enables an accused person or their legal representative to apply that they be discharged should the prosecutor not be in court on a set trial date. Mabila argued that the Crown seemed ill-prepared for the matter as the defense is still waiting for docket disclosure. The court then adjourned the matter until Thursday. The matter is before Acting Principal Magistrate Sifiso Vilagati. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane Magistrates Court.
Biologists in the University of Eswatini have discovered a new bat species in Eswatini. The bat, which has been named Neuromycia hlanzeni, is the first bat ever to have a Siswati name. UNESCO registered Dr. Salibona Smelane says the UNESCO is proud of this discovery because one of the main objectives as a university is promoting research.
We are very excited, of course, about the latest discovery that our researchers have, of course, unearthed. The Department of Biological Sciences has done us proud as a university, as a small university in the SADC region. And when such a milestone, when we have reached such a milestone, it gives us all the reasons to join hands in celebration.
Professor Ara Monagem from the University of Eswatini's Department of Biological Sciences says this discovery wasn't easy, but a dedicated team of researchers made it possible.
These are not easy animals to observe in the wild, because they fly at night, because they are small, and because they are often flying very high up in the sky. But we can catch them, and we can catch them with, there are 2 methods that we use very typically. The one is using a net, what we call harp traps. These are slightly different design, but they're also very useful for catching bats.
Professor Monagem says there are 1,456 species of bats around the world, 300 in Africa, and 32 species of bats in Eswatini. Sifiso Ngumalo with Temba Shabango for Eswatini TV News, Uneswa Gwaluseni.
Dear viewers, and now take a look at our financial updates.
It can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for sports news tonight, CAF Confederations Cup envoys Real Leopard have been drawn against Real Bamako from Mali in the tournament. The two teams' first leg will be on the 2nd of November this year. Victory by Leopard in both legs will ensure qualification to group stages for the second year in a row.
After Real Leopard, that was representing the country in CAF competition, CAF Champions League to be specific, was defeated, they had to drop in the CAF Confederations Cup. On Tuesday at the CAF head offices in Cairo, Egypt, CAF Confederations Cup conducted a draw to see how teams will be lining up against each other. Real Leopard has been drawn against AS Real Bamako from Mali that plays under the Malian Premier League. The first leg will be played at the home venue of Real Leopard on the 2nd of November this year, with the return leg being played on the 9th of November in Bamako, Mali. Leopard's victory will ensure them qualification to the CAF Confederations Cup group stages, which will be the second year in a row. For Eswatini TV Sports, Sonera, pictures sourced from CAF.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. His Majesty King Mswati III, who is accompanied by Inkoskat Magalamashwama, have arrived in the United Arab Emirates, where upon arrival His Majesty met the Abu Dhabi Royalty and Foreign Affairs Minister. The Principal Secretary and the Ministry of Public Services managers for different entities should ensure that Mswati receive quality service. The court has adjourned the trial of 4 accused persons who face several charges, including the bombing of ATMs. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.